What is going on, guys? Most of the blockbuster 2020 offseason moves are behind us. And will this be an offseason to remember? There were big-time free agent signings, plenty of quarterback movement, and more than a few polarizing trades. In the end, when the dust settled, there were several teams who did what they had to do to improve their club, while several other teams, unintentionally or not, made themselves significantly worse. Here's a look at 5 teams that got better in the offseason and 5 that got worse. Number 5 got better. Cincinnati Bengals. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Joe Burrow. What more can I say? The Bengals went from mired in mediocrity to horrible enough in 2019 to clinch the first overall pick for the 2020 draft. They wisely used it on the LSU signal caller. And with that, the Bengals are officially relevant again. Burrow will change everything about this franchise. He's so ridiculously good to the point that he could even take this team to the postseason in his rookie year. Now, okay, don't lose your mind. I know that's kind of saying a lot. Don't quote me on that, but it could happen. You never know. He's good. I doubt it, but, you know, we could go on and on about Burrow, but he wasn't Cincinnati's only marquee addition in the offseason. Now the Bengals overpaid for a handful of guys in free agency. But at the end of the day, defensive tackle DJ Reader, safety Von Bell, and cornerback Trey Waynes are still upgrades. They should fix a defense that was ranked 30th in DVOA by Football Outsiders for 2019. The Bengals also used their second-round pick on Clemson wideout T. Higgins. As if AJ Green, Tyler Boyd, John Ross, and Joe Mixon weren't already strong enough supporting cast members. Hard not to like the third-round selection of Wyoming linebacker Logan Wilson, who should solidify a decent front seven led by Geno Atkins and Carlos Dunlap. The Bengals rebuilt a horrible defense, but put the real icings on the cake by taking Burrow, Higgins, and Wilson. This team will not be boring or awful anymore. If anything, consider them a dark horse playoff contender for 2020. Yeah, we're serious. Number 5 got worse. Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings actually did very well at the 2020 draft. We just don't think they did enough to offset the plethora of losses in the offseason. The defense was aging, expensive, and underperforming, so we get why they moved on from Xavier Rhodes, Trey Waynes, Everson Griffin, and Linval Joseph. The problem is that the cap-strapped Vikings didn't do a whole lot to replace those veteran starters. Signing former Baltimore Ravens defensive tackle Michael Pierce just isn't enough. Good on the Vikings for drafting 3 corners, including TCU product Jeff Gladney. But for a team that's built to win now, you don't want to have to rely on so many rookies to fill all those holes left by departed veterans. Trading star wideout Stephon Diggs to the Buffalo Bills for a nice haul of draft picks was a smart move by GM Rick Spielman. But can rookie Justin Jefferson really replace Diggs' consistent production right away? That's to be determined. The Vikings opted to retool rather than rebuild. But as it stands, this team is built to make the playoffs, and nothing more. They might win a wild card game, but that's it. This team is no longer a true Super Bowl contender. If you ask me, they're more of a pretender than anything. Vinny should have a winning record again in 2020, but it's hard to see the Vikings getting back to the NFC divisional round. Topping 10 wins seems like a pipe dream with this current roster. Number 4 got better. Cleveland Browns. Replacing Freddie Kitchens with a savvy offensive mind in Kevin Stefanski as the head coach was a win for starters. The Browns can trust Stefanski to get the most out of a loaded offensive group, especially considering how he was able to turn Kirk Cousins into a not-so-heavily overpaid quarterback in Minnesota. The Browns won the offseason last year, but we know that didn't translate to regular season success. This time, however, it's easy to be optimistic about a turnaround in the land. Cleveland supplied Baker Mayfield with 2 new dynamic offensive weapons, Pro Bowl tight end Austin Hooper in free agency, and potential steal of the draft in Florida Atlantic tight end Harrison Bryant. But the offensive line was Cleveland's primary weakness heading into the offseason. That's okay. New GM Andrew Berry took care of that too. He signed former Tennessee Titans star Jack Conklin to a bargain 3-year $42 million contract, before drafting Alabama offensive tackle Jedrick Wills Jr. with the 10th overall selection. So now Mayfield can expect much great pass protection after taking 40 sacks last year. That's already a huge win to begin with. And he also has Bryant and Hooper to complement Pro Bowl wideouts Odell Beckham Jr. and Jarvis Landry, star running back Nick Chubb, and reliable tight end David Njoku. That's a ridiculous amount of weapons. Did we mention that Stefanski is a more suitable coach than Kitchens? And oh, the NFL expanded the postseason field to 14 playoff teams. Is it too early to say the Browns should be a postseason squad in 2020? I didn't think so. Number 4 got worse. Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, the Jaguars were already pretty bad in 2018 and 2019. but it's gonna get downright ugly in 2020. And if they don't successfully tank for Trevor Lawrence next year, then things will be worse than ever for Duval County's football team. The Jaguars magically unloaded Nick Foles' seemingly untradeable contract to the Chicago Bears. They also broke up that once ferocious Jacksonville defense by trading Calais Campbell to the Baltimore Ravens and AJ Boye to Denver. Marcel Darius was also released, along with former #1 wideout Marquise Lee. Don't get us wrong, GM David Caldwell was smart to cut his losses and unload all these pricey veterans that weren't taking Jacksonville to the next level. But they didn't exactly get quality draft capital in these trades. They won't admit it, but the Jaguars are essentially tanking for Lawrence. That said, we love the CJ Henderson and Kaylavon Chason draft selections in round 1. Those two and Josh Allen should front an excellent defensive unit for many years to come. The rebuild's off to a good start, but rebuilds usually mean being awful for a while, and the Jaguars will be pretty darn awful in 2020. Over under 3 wins? I think I'll take the under. Number 3 got better. Indianapolis Colts. It's pretty amazing how the Colts managed to win 7 games in 2019 in a tough AFC South, when you consider they had no time to find a suitable replacement for the retired Andrew Luck. Jacoby Brissett had some nice moments in 2019, but the Colts decided to make a quarterback upgrade. They signed former LA Charger Pro Bowler and future Hall of Famer Phillip Rivers. He was signed to a low-risk 1-year deal. He's now reunited with Frank Reich, the man who served as Rivers' offensive coordinator when he won the Comeback Player of the Year award in 2013. Rivers had a frustrating 2019 season with the Chargers, but we're not ready to write him off just yet. He can only do so much behind that horrible offensive line. While Rivers is joining a Colts team that had the 3rd-ranked offensive line from Pro Football Focus for the 2019 regular season, Rivers will have so many weapons at his disposal. T.Y. Hilton, Zach Pascal, Marlon Mack, Jonathan Taylor, and Michael Pittman Jr. behind that elite offensive line. Enjoy your bounce back year, Phil. Oh, and you gotta love what the Colts did on D. Trading for San Francisco 49ers star pass rusher DeForest Buckner was a genius move. He will complement Justin Houston and Darius Leonard tremendously on that front 7. And he may not start for 2 or 3 years, but you gotta love the Jacob Eason pick in round 4. The Colts found themselves a QB to win now in Rivers, and a guy who they can win with in the future in Eason. The Tennessee Titans look poised for a regression. The Jaguars are rebuilding. The Houston Texans look more vulnerable without DeAndre Hopkins. The Colts are the lone team in the division that got better, and it's easy to argue that they're the team to beat in the AFC South at the moment. And hey, with no more Tom Brady in the AFC, the Colts might even make a run for the Super Bowl if it goes according to plan. Again, they do have Mahomes and a lot of other people to deal with, but you know what I'm saying. Number 3 got worse. Atlanta Falcons. Sorry, but keeping head coach Dan Quinn and GM Thomas Dimitroff following another year of regression doesn't inspire any confidence. Owner Arthur Blank has always been a patient fellow, but he's being too loyal to 2 men that have done very little to help his team move forward. Following that gut-wrenching Super Bowl 51 loss to the New England Patriots, the Falcons already had one of the NFL's worst defenses in 2019. They released top corner Desmond Trufant and let underachieving but talented linebackers Vic Beasley and Devondre Campbell walk in free agency. All Atlanta did to offset these losses was overpay for pass rusher Dante Fowler Jr., a guy who may or may not have been a product of defensive guru Wade Phillips. The Falcons released top running back Devontae Freeman and replaced him with, well, another injury-prone and declining running back in Todd Gurley. They also moved on from Pro Bowl tight end Austin Hooper, replacing him with Hayden Hurst via trade with the Baltimore Ravens. Sorry, but Hooper is simply a better player. Atlanta should have just paid him. Expect some regression of the offensive side of the ball. Taking Clemson corner AJ Terrell in the first round was a wise move, but he's not going to single-handedly fix this wretched secondary. All 3 of Atlanta's NFC South division foes made plenty of moves to get better in the offseason. As it stands now, these Falcons are the worst team in their division. Hard to see this group salvaging the same 7-9 record as they pulled off last year. Number 2 got better. Arizona Cardinals. Alright, listen, any team that landed DeAndre Hopkins would be on our got better list. How the Cardinals managed to get him while dumping David Johnson's terrible contract is beyond us. Oh wait, it's a classic Bill O'Brien move. Pardon my ignorance. Rather than ramble on and on about how great Hopkins is, just picture this. Kyler Murray now gets to throw to D-Hop, future Hall of Famer Larry Fitzgerald, and youngsters Christian Kirk and Hakeem Butler. And he has Kenyon Drake to help out the rushing game. The Cardinals also rebuilt the defensive side of the ball by taking can't-miss do-it-all Clemson linebacker Isaiah Simmons at number 8 overall in the draft. They also signed Jordan Phillips and Devondre Campbell to beef up their front 7. And so a team that finished 28th in scoring defense suddenly looks like an above-average unit. Murray, after dazzling his rookie year, should take his game to another level with Hopkins now in the fold. hold. Sure, the NFC West is far from an easy division, but the extra wild card spot is there for the taking now. These Cardinals are ready to take that next step. Now, let's see it happen. Honestly, they might even potentially make it to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying they will, but it's definitely possible. Number 2 got worse. Los Angeles Rams. The Rams went all in 2 years ago. It got them to the Super Bowl. Now it's time to deal with the consequences. The cap-strapped Rams took a ton of blows this offseason. They had no choice but to move on from injury-prone and productive veterans like Todd Gurley and Brandon Cooks. And the lack of cap space prevented the Rams from finding a suitable pass-catching replacement for the latter. Starting safety Eric Weddle retired. Dante Fowler Jr., who logged 11.5 sacks, was picked up by Atlanta in free agency. But losing do-it-all linebacker Corey Littleton to the Las Vegas Raiders in free agency was easily the biggest blow on defense. The Rams had limited draft capital because of the Jalen Ramsey trade. Florida State running back Cam Akers and Florida wideout Van Jefferson were nice finds in round 2. But are they upgrades over Cooks and Gurley? Probably not. All the Rams could really do with their limited cap space was retain Michael Brockers and Andrew Whitworth on new deals. This team won 9 games in a brutally tough division in 2019. How can the Rams possibly improve in 2020 with a gutted defense and limited star power on offense? This team looks poised to finish last in the NFC West next season. Number 1 got better. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Let's keep this short and sweet. The Buccaneers picked up some GOAT and 6-time Super Bowl champion named Tom Brady. They had traded for his best buddy, Rob Gronkowski, who decided to end a 1-year retirement. Brady, Gronk, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and O.J. Howard on offense. Okay then, wow. The Bucs also traded up to snag Iowa offensive tackle Tristan Wirfs with the 13th overall pick. So Tommy Terrific won't have to worry too much about pass protection. The Buccaneers defense is above average too. Jameis Winston's 30 turnovers put the unit in a tough position time and time again. But Football Outsiders actually ranked Tampa Bay's defense 5th in DVOA for the 2019 season. Not sure if the Bucs are legitimate Super Bowl contenders, but they're undoubtedly a playoff team. They'll end a 13-year postseason drought here in 2020. Gronk and Brady will make the Bucs a must-watch team for the first time since the John Gruden days. This, folks, is how you get better. Add 2 football GOATs who combined for 9 championship rings. Number 1 got worse. New England Patriots. We're probably going to regret betting against Bill Belichick. But how do you replace the GOAT? Oh, Tom Brady was on the decline anyway, you say? Alright, that's a fair statement. But how do you know if Jarrett Stidham is ready to take over the reins? Shouldn't you have picked up Andy Dalton, Cam Newton, or Teddy Bridgewater maybe? Brady wasn't even the only notable loss. Jamie Collins, arguably the team's best defensive player after Stephon Gilmore, left for the Detroit Lions. Versatile linebacker Kyle Van Noy joined the Miami Dolphins. Safety Deron Harmon, known for always making the clutch interception, was traded to the Detroit Lions. Reliable fullback James Devlin announced his retirement. So did well-respected offensive line coach Dante Scarnecchia, whom Belichick successfully begged to return in 2017. Belichick didn't make a single blockbuster trade or free agent splash. We know not to doubt him when it comes to drafting, but none of Belichick's picks really wowed anybody. It's really hard to see how the Patriots will be better without Brady right now. Belichick didn't address the need for more pass catchers. The Buffalo Bills Miami Dolphins made a ton of moves to get better. Not the Jets, of course, but they made a couple. It's whatever. And these Patriots are definitely no longer in the same class as the Kansas City Chiefs or Baltimore Ravens. Belichick is probably doing the right thing by rebuilding or retooling, rather than trying to win now with this current group. But the Patriots are not the class of the NFL anymore. Losing Brady sparked the beginning of the end for the dynasty. Call it the Patriots' last dance, if you will. Which other teams do you think got better in the offseason, and which ones got worse? Join me in the comment section below. Make sure to follow myself and TPS on social media. We post great content all the time. Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We are on everything. Go find us. If you like this video, give it a like. It takes one click down below, and subscribe to TPS. We post videos every day. Every day is a new video. Of course, thank you so much for watching. I'm Jason Biondo. I'll see you next time.
My knee.